What is up, Titan Nation? Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We got an awesome show planned for you guys. We're going to talk about all the rumors, all the stuff that's been going on with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, we got to talk about that. We would be doing you an injustice not to, but we are going to talk about it. Cooler heads may prevail in this one, but we are going to talk about it. And we're going to kind of get into what the Titans need. What do we really need? What are we realistically looking at as far as the draft and free agency, things in that? We're going to get into a few headlines that have been going on. So let's get it rolling here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tighten up that like button here, as we say at the Titan Upload Network. We do have a new member to the network, a couple new members. One of them will be on here tonight. We're super excited. But Titans for Life has joined the Titan Upload Network officially. We got Spicy Curry. He's going to be doing some of the Titans radio stuff. And, of course, we got Mr. Producer, Titan Upload's son, who's been the longtime producer of the network. So shout out to him as well. Shout out to Titan Upload, everybody that's in the chat. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Let's get it rolling.
Oh, how y'all doing? This is Jalen Fly, a.k.a. the Mountain Mover. Make sure y'all follow my movement. But in the meantime, check us out. I need y'all to like and subscribe because this is Titans Rossi. Oh, let's go.
All right, let's bring these guys in here. What is up, fellas?
How you doing, Rusty?
What's going on?
How's it go?
Up.
We've got a star-studded ensemble here tonight. So, bunch of fine-looking dudes as well, I might say. Anyways, so let's just get into it, right? So all this stuff is going on. The topic of the last couple days with Jared Stillman coming out, and it was kind of funny. And I don't know if y'all watched the Pat McAfee. It was on YouTube earlier where he was talking about it, and they were like kind of poking fun at Stillman, but they also gave him props, which was cool. But which I'm sure he's pretty stoked about. But let's just go ahead and play the video from today, or was it from this morning? I think it was this morning that it came out. Let's see, I got it here somewhere. Maybe I don't have it. Anyways, I'll pull it up here. Here it is. But yeah, this was the video he released earlier about, Rodgers buying land here and all that stuff. So it's, it's interesting. So here
According to multiple sources, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is building a home in Franklin. The second thing, a source tells me Rodgers would be, quote, open to joining the Titans. That's all I was told. Open to joining the Titans. And I talked to another source in which at least some of Rodgers' current Green Bay Packer teammates think there is no way Rodgers is going back to Green Bay.
There you go. Everybody's seen this today. It's all over. It was kind of funny, guys, because I was looking up Sports Track earlier. It's where it tells you all the contracts. And Ryan Tannehill is the number one searched person on there, and so is Aaron Rodgers. So let's just go around real quick, kind of give your initial thoughts. Does it mean anything at all or doesn't? And then we'll kind of get into the discussion. But we'll start with Titans for Life, go to Power Hour, and then Tyler at the bottom.
Well, for me, the dead cap money for Tannehill is too much for them to do anything, unless it's a trade, in which point the dead cap money would move off of it. But $57.4 million is his dead cap money next year. It's cheaper to keep him at this point. There's just too much money involved. Secondly, Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to sound mean or whatever, but do you really want to live in Green Bay? It's cold for a very, very long time. And Nashville is one of the top 3 growing cities in all of America. So, and all of the United States. So, a lot of people are moving here. And as for what I've been told is that Aaron Rodgers had no intention of coming back at the beginning of the season, should he play out this year. So that's why his contract got restructured so he could get out of Green Bay at the end of the year. And it looks like he's going to do that. Where he plays, I mean, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be the Titans.
What do you think, Michael?
Really, I hope he enjoys his house where he's building it. So I wouldn't take any more consideration than what it is. And really, language is important here in what he's saying. Open and interested are 2 different things. Open just means, well, okay. Interested means just more intrigue there. So at this point, I just think Denver, I think Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay right now are going to be the top hitters for Aaron Rodgers. I think right now it's just, hey, Nashville's a growing city, like Titans for Life said. It's growing. There's already a multitude of athletes that live there. So really, I just wouldn't take much consideration in it, and I wouldn't try and build any hopes on it.
Tyler?
Yeah, I have to agree with them here. I mean, whenever I first seen it, I was like, this is going to get hyped up way more than it should, because you have, as Power Hour mentioned, other athletes live in Nashville or close to Nashville. I mean, George Kittle, I think he either has land or a house here around Nashville. And you know what? Titans need a playmaking tight end that can block. So since George Kittle's around Nashville, I guess he's coming to the Titans too. But, as Power Hour said, open and interested. I mean, Rodgers is probably open to going to several teams that is not the Green Bay Packers. So I'm just not putting much into it. If things start growing on it some more and more, then I might pay closer attention to it. But right now I'm not putting much into it at all.
Yeah, and I'm not either. It's so early on. I was honestly surprised that the rumor mill got going this quickly. I thought it would at least be after the Super Bowl or something. But Stillman came out with that. So we'll see what happens. If Tannehill's contract wasn't the way it was, I think it would be a really good shot to happen, but it's the problem lies within Tannehill's contract mainly, it's his contract's it's massive right now. And I don't see why would Green Bay, why would they want to bring in, because you're going to have to do a QB for QB trade for this to even work, for it even to work for Green Bay. So why would they bring in, why wouldn't they just start with Love? Why wouldn't they just start seeing what they have with Jordan Love? You know what I mean? Unless they want him to sit for another year, but I just don't see that, especially if they're going to lose the wide receiver there. What's his name?
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Devontae Adams. I had a blank there. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to lose Devontae Adams, I mean, they might as well just start kind of rebuilding a little bit and let Love start. It just doesn't make any sense at all and unless they're going to do a 3-way trade or something, and that hasn't happened since like 1987. So, but like Eric Dickerson, I think it was Eric Dickerson. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just think it's rumor mill fodder type stuff at the moment. But
wasn't that Herschel Walker deal also a three-way trade, and there was 3 teams involved with all of that, and Dallas ended up with all of those draft picks because of how the trade went down. I want to say Herschel Walker was a big trade, 3-way trade too.
It could have been Walker. I looked it up earlier. I actually Googled, how many times has there been a 3-way trade in the NFL? And I couldn't find an exact number or whatever. I wouldn't even go back and count them all, but there hasn't been that many. It's not the NBA. You know what I mean? And it's a whole different era in the NFL now. I do want to get to some of the comments, and I know Buck Rising just went live, so we're kind of competing with him, but we have 25 people in the chat. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in. It means a lot to us. So Filthy Kong says, even if we don't get Rodgers, I'm sure Tannehill must be sweating bullets after hearing about this. I don't know. He probably doesn't care at all, really. He probably knows. The Kinseys are in the house, so shout out to the Kinseys. I do have something to bring up for while we're on it, and I'll just show it real quick. Since I know y'all are watching Janet. So Scott, who is Mason's stepdad. So let's see here. He made Broadway Sports terrible Twitter takes of the year. So congratulations, Scott, if you're watching. And this was a tweet that he made about Mason a long time ago. It's like when they got Golden Tate. And it's kind of hard to read. It's so small, but he's basically saying, Golden, he thinks Kinsey could be better than Tate and all this. And I actually made one of their terrible Twitter takes of the week one time, believe it or not. Imagine that. But but it was actually a good tweet. But so whatever, man. The haters are back. They kind of went quiet for a little bit, but they're back. It is what it is.
Well, they can stay haters as long as they want, but apparently the Titans see things differently. They didn't sign him to a futures contract because we get on here and talk about him all the time. They signed him to a futures contract because they see that he is going to be. I think he's going to be their slot receiver next year. I think he's going to be doing punt returns also. I've been on this. We've talked about this. I've had sources tell me, please stop talking about Mason Kinsey. We want to sign him at the end of the year. And me and Rossi've talked about this several times, that this was something that, I knew was coming. Oh, what was that week? What was it? Week 9 or 10, whenever we lost both Julio and AJ, and we're like, why don't they give him a chance? And then I get a phone call. Shut up. And so this was a long time coming, and they knew pretty early on in the season that they were going to do this. They were going to sign him to that futures contract. They're and by all accounts, he's done everything they've asked and then some. He's exceeded their expectations. So, hey, I mean, when a guy works hard, he goes out there and does what he needs to do, takes good coaching, and then turns around and performs, what else are you going to do but sign him? And if you're a hater, look, this is what I always tell everybody. Look, if you don't have haters, you're not doing anything right.
Yeah, that's true.
Give me the more haters you have, the more right you're doing.
Yeah, that is true, man. Let's see. I'm gonna get caught up on some of these comments too. Jay Tyrant says, "I'm sure Buck is destroying all that hype to prepare Titans fans to not get set up for disappointment." Actually, I mean, he's been fanning the flames. If you look at 104.5's YouTube channel, I mean, they've been talking about it for all day long. So I don't think Buck is trying to put the fire out at all. Gabriel says, sorry, Buck, simultaneous live shows. Rossi wins. I appreciate that. That's awesome. That's right. Al Pierce. What's up, Al Pierce? Star-studded show tonight. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, Al. Titan Anderson's in the building. Congrats. They just had
yes.
He just had his baby. His wife just had their baby. So congrats to you, my friend. Fernanda Medina, my wife.
And Titan Anderson, I want to say one other thing. Not only congratulations, but my prayers are with you, brother. Babies are, boy, I tell you, they're the love. You know, my son is the love of my life, but I tell you, the first couple of months was, whew, you wake up, you haven't really slept. You wake up and you're kind of walking around like a zombie. So, nothing but love for you, brother. And you know, get sleep when you can.
Just make sure wifey's happy. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
And y'all know about that, but I don't yet. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. My
Good
wife,
luck,
that's my wife there. So love you too. She also said you look handsome. Thank you. You know. It's like my grandfather used to say, I don't think so, but I can't argue with millions of other people's opinions. My grandpa was awesome. And look at this, Janet Kinsey, $9.99 donation. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Yes, super chats are enabled, everybody. So if you do donate, it'll go back into the channel.
I want to thank Janet Kinsey, the Kinsey family, and Mason Kinsey. They've all been donating to help us get back on our feet and get our stuff from the fire back. They've really, I mean, I kind of get sorry, I kind of get choked up because they've shown a lot of love, and I just really want to thank them. And all of the people who have donated, Rossi, Upload, all you guys, thank you so much. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put get my son's computer back, because he worked for 2 years to buy the components for the computer and build it, and then a few weeks later, the fire destroys it. So we're working hard.
Yeah. And it's awesome what they've been doing. They're awesome. And also, guys, if you look in the chat, there's a link that I pinned for James's GoFundMe link. So if you look in the chat, it's at the very top of the chat. The link's on there. If you just click the link, boom, it'll take you right to the GoFundMe. And whatever you guys can donate, even if it's $1, you know. Anything will help this man's cause and his family. Anything y'all can do, that would be awesome. Like I said, it is in the chat at the very top. It's pinned, and it'll be there the whole show. So it is available the whole show. So guys, I kind of want to get into, let's kind of move on from the Rodgers thing for the moment. And, I want to get into, who do you guys think, if you guys were John Robinson and you had one pick, you say the one person you want in the draft, whether it be the first round, whatever, and we'll go around and just kind of see, who is the one person you personally want in the draft that could fall to us, you know what I mean? And I'll start with you, Tyler, and we'll kind of go from the bottom around. Tyler to Power Hour and Titans for Life, and back to me.
So I'll be honest, since wife's been working at night, hadn't done too much research on or watching of the Senior Bowl, all that, see who's coming out. But I think back to, and it's not even first round, anything like that, but I think back to the mock draft that you put a picture out of, Rossi, that you did, and a guy that stuck out to me, and I messaged you about it and told you, like, hey, I'd like that pick, is Cade Mays for a guard position. I told you going back to last year's draft, like 6th round, Trey Smith was still sitting there, and now look at the season he's had with the Chiefs this past year. And we've talked about, the Titans cap situation. They're they're over the cap right now. They're going to have to try and move some stuff around. We may see some people that we love having on the team go away. And I think Cade Mays could be a cheaper option for a guard spot there.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And Power Hour.
Well, I know we talked a little bit about last week, Rossi, and one of the guys that comes to mind that I've been watching a little film on, and shout out to Daniel Martin for bringing him up, was Treylon Burks from Arkansas. I like his speed. I like his hands. Some have him going like around round 2 possibly, but I think he'll have a good combine. And if he does a good pro day, I could potentially see him moving up into the first round. But you have comparisons of Alshon Jeffrey and Andre Johnson even. So I like the way this kid moves, and I think he's a potential replacement for Julio Jones.
And he's a big boy. He's 6'3", 225. That I don't know where that 40 came. I pulled it off the internet. Of course, that'll change when he does his pro day and stuff. But what about you, James?
Well, I'm going in a completely different direction than both of them. Really and truly, there's 2 guys who I've been looking at a lot that I've really kind of honed in on. If the Titans don't trade out of the first round, which I'm kind of hoping that they do, first of all, it really alleviates some of the cap issues, because that first round pick is going to cost a lot. If they don't trade out of it, then I would look at a guy named Trey McBride. He is a tight end. He is probably one of the most natural receiving tight ends that I've seen come out of college in a long time. He's naturally a good receiver, but he's really stout and can lay a block. Pretty good. And that's if they don't trade out of the first round. So to be honest with you, that he's I believe out of Colorado State. And then if they do trade out of the first round, I would go with Daniel Bellinger. He is another one of those tight ends that's a really good pass receiving tight end and a really good blocker at the same time. Got quick feet. I think they need to go tight end, because we just have not had anyone at the tight end position this last year that consistently could stretch the defense a little bit and block when needed at the same time and be the same person. We'd swap guys in and out and stuff like that. So that's where I think I would go.
And you kind of stole mine. That's who I've been kind of keying in on. I don't know if he'll fall to 26. A lot of them have him ranked as the number 1 tight end.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll fall to us. I feel like a tight end will be taken off the board before then, but who knows? We might see him. I really like McBride. McBride actually have a video of him from the Senior Bowl. We'll play her. It's real short. But he's big. He knows how to block. He's pretty quick for his size. But as you can see, he's kind of in traffic. I mean, obviously, it's just Senior Bowl practice or whatever, but he's a big boy, and he's pretty quick. I mean, he's 6'4", 260, 4.65 40-yard dash. I wish we just get a tight end. If it's through free agency, if it's through the draft, if it's George Kittle,
Well, I think the first person who's really going to probably come off the board as a tight end is probably going to be Jalen Whittemire or Whittemire. I can't remember how you say his last name. Out of Texas A&M. I think that there's going to be a lot of stock in the fact that he played in the SEC. So a lot of people are going to probably boost him up a little bit higher because of that, no matter what happens from here on out. But there are some boards that have him as the number 1, and there's some that that have Trey McBride as number one. But the steal, I think, if the Titans can trade out of the first round and get into an extra third round and a second rounder, I think that the other guy, Daniel Bellinger, is. I mean, he's not quite as quick, but his hands are pretty good, and they're good enough to do what we need them to do. Catch 6 or 7 balls a game, get us the first down, stretch the field a little bit, occupy those middle and inside linebackers. So he's a good fallback, and he should be available in the 3rd or 4th round.
What do you know? There's some tackles in this draft that are pretty good. I think one of them is it Lindenbaum or something? I've heard a lot of people talking about him. The issue is too, and we're gonna touch on this, and we might as well get into it. With Taylor Lewan, there's been some stuff come out today that was pretty interesting about Lewan, and I don't know if y'all heard about it or not, but it was on 3HL earlier that he had said something. I thought I had the screenshot of it, what he said. Maybe I don't. Anyways, basically what he said on 3HL earlier was that he, if the Titans don't retain him for next season, he would entertain the idea of retiring, because he really loves it in Tennessee. He wants to be a Titan for life. He's got his show here, the Bussin' with the Boys. He's kind of, the talk of the town. And him and Henry and AJ, they're those 3 guys that you could say Kevin Byard, but Luan's got a lot of reach in the city in Nashville. He goes out, people see him all the time. He's, you know what I mean? And he's been here the longest. I think he's the longest tenured Titan, right? Maybe, I don't know how long Kern's been here. I don't think Kern's been here as long as he has. But, if they do, first of all, do you guys see them letting him go? Because if they let him go, they're going to save like $12 million or something like that in cap space. You guys see them letting him go?
I could see a restructured deal.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's where I'm at. I think it would be a restructure because, you look at it, taking 2 tackles early on the last 2 drafts. We know how the first one didn't work out. The second one and Radens, we're still kind of seeing what's going to happen there. Questenberry, I think he's a free agent, and you have to decide, do you want to put Radens over at right tackle, and if that's the case, do you really want to get rid of Lewan at left tackle? I think it'll be a restructure, and that he'll still be with the team.
Personally, I think Dylan Radens is a left tackle. He showed it this year, in I believe it was the San Francisco game. He is a true left tackle. They tried to move him over to right tackle, and it was a colossal failure. The problem is that, he played left tackle in college for all that time. He played left tackle in high school, and the steps are different. Try riding. If you're right-handed, try riding left-handed, and then if you're left-handed, try riding right-handed. It's functionally terrible, but I don't see the restructure would have to be significant for them to keep Taylor Lewan. I don't see that I don't see either side really looking at that. I haven't talked to my sources about it very much, but I don't see Taylor Lewan being back next year. They can save $12 million, which would get them a little bit under the cap. The projected cap increase is what, $22 million? Is that right? Do you know, Tyler? I think it's 22 power hour. Do you know?
It should be about 22, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cap space issue gets solved a little easier if you don't have to give anything up. I don't know if Julio is going to retire or not. I think he's still got 1 year, 2 years on his contract.
I think it's 2.
Two?
I think
Yeah.
they have like an easier out after this next year with it.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's significant. It's significant after June 1st. Then they'd
Yeah.
owe him less money if they decide to cut him.
Yeah.
So there's a cut I could see them doing with Julio Jones, especially with a draft that has a lot of receiver talent this year.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it is after June 1st for Julio. I want to say it's like I don't think it's a whole lot, maybe 9 million or something. I don't know if somebody wants to look that up in the chat on Sport Tracker. I don't think you can actually look post June 1st on Sport Track. There's another site where you can actually, it's pretty cool. You can actually click post June 1st trade, post June 1st cut. I can't remember. There's only 2 sites that you can really look up contracts like that. Anyways, if you Google it, anybody in the chat or whatever. But the problem with, if we lose Luan too is, the problem is if you keep Luan, which, in my heart, I really hope they do, because I think if he can stay healthy, I think at this point he's not an elite tackle anymore, but he is above average. He is better than majority of the tackles in the league. I think he played well towards the latter half of the season for sure. I think actually technically he only allowed 1 sack like the last 10 games of the season or something like that. So the
looking this up for Julio.
Huh?
Sorry, looking this up for Julio. I'm on over the cap, and if
that's
it's
what it is, over the
cutting
cap.
him post June 1st, his cap number would be 4.8 million.
Oh wow, okay. So what about the dead cap? Does it show dead cap, or isn't that what really counts?
If they kept him, it'd be about 14.3 million. They'd have to be on the loop for. Now, if they cut him at the June deadline, they'd save about 9.5 million.
Okay. So it very well could happen. I just I don't know. I have a feeling they're not gonna cut him, but I'm often wrong too. So we'll see.
Now after if I'm not mistaken, and after June 1st, he's also eligible for restructure. That's part of that I want to say it's paragraph 5 or something like that. But he's eligible for restructure, so that if he just wants to go and have another run, a Super Bowl run or something like that, and wants to have one more year where he can hang around for a Super Bowl run, I think that they can restructure him also, and that's the one that I see is the most likely restructure out of just about everybody else on the team.
Interesting. Gabriel Detnot, $5 donation. Thank you, man. He says, Luan is my wife's favorite player, but it all comes down to money in this league. And it does. Yeah. And Luan said that on the radio. He said, look, I know, he was talking contract numbers and everything. I know my contract's $12 million. If they cut me, they can save this and that. So he knows the situation. He was pretty practical about it, and if he's talking like, oh, I'm going to retire if they don't retain me, if it's kind of to that point, then you would think he would restructure, you know what I mean? Unless but it wouldn't surprise me if there's some team out there that's going to freaking offer him a bunch of money, you never know. Well, I guess they can't. Well, only if he gets cut. So, yeah, he would have to get cut for that to happen because he's not a free agent, obviously. But anyways, let's get to some more of these comments here. Let's see. Sauce Monitor says, cut Saffold, keep Luan restructure. I've heard of the Saffold thing. I was kind of surprised Saffold made the Pro Bowl. I don't know if y'all were, but that kind of jumped up on me, because he was out so much. And I guess he played decent, but Pro Bowl's a popularity contest too.
Now Saffold's another player that possibly could be cut. So that's a very big possibility there, especially if he's kept. That'd be about a $12.8 million hit the Titans would take, and they'd save about 10.5 if they cut him. So he probably could be gone this year.
Yeah, that's kind of where my thinking more is that they would probably get rid of Saffold instead of Lawan, and that's why I was kind of, maybe big on the Cade Mays pick at guard. That when Rossi had that in there, I was like, well, there you go. Instead of blowing up your tackle position and just work on the inside of the line.
Yeah, I could see it happening. What do you think on Saffold, James? As far as
there are times when he plays really well, and then there are times it's hard to watch. He's very inconsistent with his hand placement. He's very inconsistent with his footwork. He's extremely inconsistent when it comes to, picking up the blitz cues and things like that. So you'll see mistakes there. But the thing is he had Taylor Lewan, and he had a whole bunch of guys that could help him out with that, and you had the run game that scared the living crap out of everybody. So you didn't see it except, very rare occasions. So my feelings on Saffold is I'm not so sure you retain him. I think maybe you talk to him about a restructure. If that's a no, then there are guys out on the street who are going to end up getting cut because a lot of teams are going to be in salary cap jail too. We're not the only team that's going to be in salary cap jail, so there's going to be some guys we can get for pretty cheap if we can just kind of weather the storm a little bit. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure I keep him with the level of play that he has been given for the amount of money he's got.
And there was another one I just posted on the screen. JS75 says, who is going to play right tackle next season? Since we're on the O-line, Quisenberry obviously did not really do the job really well. I think he let up, I want to say it was the most sacks out of any right tackle in the league this season, or he was top 3. Where do you guys think they go at right tackle? Because, a lot of these tackles in the draft are left tackles, where do you guys think they go? Do they try and bring in a veteran? Do they try and, somebody like a Dennis Kelly, like somebody of that nature? What do you all think on that?
I think they could go to a nursing home and get someone better than what they've had this year.
I remember halfway through the season on Pro Football Focus, he was ranked 5th in the league in run blocking. And then I looked at the end of the season and he was 20-something, So what do you think we do there, Michael, as far as at right tackle? Do you think we just try and bring in a veteran guy or what?
I think you look to the draft. Once again, it's a deep draft this year for wide receivers, offensive linemen, position players. I really feel like the Titans are going to get a bulk of their players in the draft this year. Now, one guy I'm really looking in particular at right now is Sean Ryan from UCLA. He can play at both positions, but he's more comfortable at left tackle. But if he could play right, I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem transitioning over.
Yeah, and a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right there. As far as maybe drafting somebody, if you obviously, I mean, Radens is a left tackle. He played well in and James, you had watched a lot of tape on ratings and stuff, but yeah, he played well. Mark Jones thinks he's going to start next year. If he starts, that means, Luan's gone. So, we'll see what happens. I did see a comment in here I wanted to post. Let me scroll up here. Holly, she says, "Hey there, Titans Rossi, found you via Titan Upload." And thank you for tuning in, Holly. I see you on his channel all the time, and thank you so much for the for your support of my channel and the Titan Upload Network as a whole. So I guess the next thing we can kind of move on here is one thing that nobody's really talked about, and even Vrabel didn't even talk about it after the game much. And even after that is about what Shane Bowen's done with this defense this year. And, Vrabel, and I get it. I get the frustration after the game. When he was talking about the sacks, he was like, well, yeah, okay, great. 9 sacks. What is that? I want turnovers. I get what he's trying to do. But how much credit does Shane Bowen deserve for this defensive turnaround? And do you guys see this only getting better? Schwartz is probably going to be gone. We don't know how much involvement Schwartz had. I don't think it was that much of involvement. But what do you guys think of this turnaround? And what do you guys think of him moving forward as our coach? And we'll start with James there.
Honestly, another year like this, another year, maybe 2 years like this, I don't think Shane Bowen's here. I think he's head coaching material at that point. He's done a great job. He's done some really fantastic things. He's added some twists and stuff to the defense that have kind of surprised offenses. I mean, look what he's done when it comes to playing some of the upper echelon teams this year. I mean, he has defensively smoked them. I mean, I don't know how else you say, he has transformed this defense from one of the worst defenses in the NFL to what I think is just the precipice of being a great defense that teams are going to be, offensive coordinators are going to be really scared. So I think that's what he's done.
And I mean, Ducky says Danico Autry deserves a ring. So what do you think, Power Hour, as far as is moving forward? Or were you happy with the defense this year? Or you like Vrabel,
Well, there's still things we can work on. The defense was good at getting to the quarterback this year, and I think that was the number one priority. But one thing I'd like to see more next year going forward, I want to see the secondary start picking the ball off more. I want to see the linebackers start attacking the runners and stripping the ball. We are a good defense right now. We can be an elite defense if we start adding a couple more playmakers. We get Rashad Weaver back. We get Caleb Farley back, see what they can do. If we can retain Harold Landry, good God, this is a scary defense.
Yeah.
And Tyler, that's another person, Harold Landry, we're going to have to pay a lot of money. So, if we're somehow trading for Aaron Rodgers, how are we paying Landry? Where does this all fall into place? But what do you think about what Michael said as far as the secondary? Do you think Caleb Farley? You think he's got a chance to do something and come back from that injury?
So, you for the most part, you kind of see it with the ACL, and I think probably the outlier was Adrian Peterson when he came back from his ACL injury and just had the best season of his career. You don't see that with everyone. Usually, and you hear athletes kind of talk about this. Usually, it's not the first year they come back; it's the next year that they come back when they really get back to their game more. But that being said, maybe I have hopes for Farley. I hope he can come out this next year and, be just ball out and have that elite speed to, match up against like a Tyreek Hill and all these other guys. And yeah, you look at it going back 2 years ago, we could force the turnovers, but couldn't get to the quarterback. Now this last year, we were able to get to the quarterback a lot better, but as far as the turnovers, I believe it was down. I don't know exactly how much it was down for our turnovers that we caused this year. Yeah. But like Power Hour said, if we can put those together and our secondary come back next year and add that to the pass rush, this defense, it'll be scary. Like, I wouldn't want to be the offensive coordinator having to game plan against them.
And I want to break in real quick, Tyler. Just been announced on ESPN, Doug Peterson is the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
really,
some breaking news right there.
Interesting. Where has he been coaching?
I think he's just been off lately, so he's going to be come back refreshed, and I think it's a good pickup for the Jaguars. We'll just see what they can do.
Yeah, I think it's a good pickup considering what they, just got out of. He's somebody that can probably bring you some stability. You know what I mean? He's been a coach for a long time. Hopefully they don't do good though, and they suck next year. So, no, I'm kidding.
Hey, Power Hour.
Really.
Only one question though. Looking at that, can we really trust who is breaking that?
Yeah.
With Shepard.
I mean,
Yeah.
He was right eventually, so we kind of got to give it to him partially.
Yeah.
We'll give him partial credit, half now, half later.
So,
all right, there you go.
And I do want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Y'all been awesome. It's been very active, and please like and subscribe. This channel is a part of the Titan Upload Network, which now has a new member, Titans for Life, who is on the show tonight, aka James Wheeler, aka the Big Sportsman. So shout out to him and everybody else who makes this thing, who helps this thing work, who tweets us out on Twitter, retweets, shares on Facebook. The Titan Upload Network has an army, and it's all because of you guys who help kind of keep this thing moving along, and you help keep us growing. So thank you very much. It means a lot to us. So let's kind of get to the other side. This is the side everybody's been talking about. A name I don't know if we should mention, but
he shall not be named.
Yeah, he that shall not be named, or like on Harry Potter or whatever. But Todd Downing, should Todd Downing be given another season? Basically, let's just get into it. Should Todd Downing be given another season? I'll go ahead and start off this one. Here's what I think. All right, and you guys can expand upon this or give your own thoughts about the situation. But I think what you did last year with Bowen, or this season, is you brought in Schwartz to. I think Schwartz. I'm not saying Schwartz didn't have a role or not. Of course, he had a role, but I think bringing in a guy like Schwartz to kind of not look over Bowen's shoulder, but to kind of help him out. Obviously the way they were blitzing with the 4-down lineman was definitely a Schwartz thing. And I think if you're going to keep Todd Downing, maybe you bring in somebody like you did with Bowen. You bring in a guy, an offensive consultant or somebody like that who can kind of tutor Downing. I don't know. At this point, I would love to see Downing gone, just because I think we've seen what he did with the Raiders. He was terrible there. He got ran out of town. You've seen what he's done here. He's trying to get ran out of town at the moment. But I think if you keep him, do you bring in somebody? what do you think about that, James? I mean, you got to do something if you're going to keep the guy. I don't know.
Can we keep him in a locker?
I don't see why not.
I have watched enough film this year to probably fill up the hotel that I'm in right now. His personnel grouping, he's calling good plays, but he's calling them with bad personnel groupings. And sometimes he's just I think he gets situationally confused or mishandles the situation. 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 in a shotgun, really? Third and 4th and 1, and both plays back to back. You don't have Julio Jones out there because you're trying to give him a breather, and Julio standing on the sidelines, like, there's a couple of times he started to take a step on the field and they told him to get back, and I'm like going, really? He is a guy that, even at this age and this production level that he had this year, he still commands some attention. You put him out there, make them draw somebody over. Maybe that safety comes a little bit further over and doesn't come, and it has to stay back a little bit further to help cover a little bit. It seems to me he's situationally tone deaf. And that was the same thing that happened when he was, that happened before. This is not the first coaching job that he's been like that. I don't understand some of the calls he makes, and I don't understand the personnel groupings that he makes those calls in. They make absolutely no sense. I mean, first of all, it's 3rd and 1. If I'm going to run the ball, that's when I run it. And then if it's 4th and 1, I put my playmakers out there, force the defense to cover me, and run a sneak right behind the left side of the line. That's how I play it. But to me, what he's been doing is situationally tone deaf, and I just don't know if there's a way to correct that without having someone literally stand over his shoulder and go, "No, Todd, no." And if you're going to do that, you might as well hire a offensive coordinator that you don't have to do that with. That's just my feelings on it.
And say you do, hypothetically, you do bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm looking at the Titans, and I'm making my decision, like, this is where I want to go. Obviously the defense is going to get better and better if we can keep some of these, keep Landry and, it keeps improving and all that. But I'm looking at that O-line and I'm thinking, golly, Tannehill, he got hit quite a bit last year. And I'm also a good quarterback can kind of alleviate some of that too, getting rid of the ball and stuff. And I'm also looking at Todd Downing, and I'm saying, look, man, if I'm going to go there, I'm a future Hall of Fame quarterback. If I'm going to go there, man, give me a decent coach who knows what he's doing. Somebody did say, somebody did say something about it was pretty interesting. Let's see if I can find it here. Anyways, it was about Downing. Al Pierce says Byron Leftwich is our OC. A lot of people have been talking about Leftwich lately. He's been in the rumor mill for coaching a lot. We need to bring in. Yeah, he's a really good coach. We need to bring in somebody, man. We need to bring in somebody. I feel like.
I got the right guy for you, Rossi. And right now he's retired, but I know he'd come back for the right job. And here's his resume. He's worked with Peyton Manning. He's worked with Steve Young. And he's worked with a multitude of other quarterbacks. And that'd be Gary Kubiak. You bring him in as a senior offensive assistant, put him behind Downing. Get him the same treatment that Schwartz and Bowen had. Get them on the same page. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. I'd be totally down with that. Having Kubiak here would be awesome. You know what I mean? I think we need somebody like that if we don't let Downing go. And also, guys, please, if you have any questions for any of these guys in the chat, all these guys bring something to the table. James he's very knowledgeable about the game. He knows a lot of the inside workings of the Titans. Michael down here, the Power Hour, he knows a lot about the draft, the players, Titans time. I don't know what no, I'm just kidding. Titans.
Not a lot.
I'm totally joking. Titans time, man. They've been doing this podcast thing for a while, and they know everything there is to know about the Titans, and they're awesome. His wife's been in the chat tonight, Carrie, and shout out to her. So if you guys got any questions for these guys, please ask them in the chat, and we'll throw them on the screen here. And thank you guys for coming on tonight, man. It's been an awesome show. So we've kind of got into some of the needs for next season. Obviously, we got into, and this all depends on who we're letting go, who we're keeping. Obviously, there's some needs at offensive line. Regardless, there's a need at tight end. Please go out and get a tight end. Draft a tight end. Draft 2 tight ends. I don't care. They need to go get a tight end some way, shape, or fashion, because the Ferkser experiment did not work. And like No Flags Film has said the whole season, I don't call Ferkser a tight end because he doesn't play tight end. Where they line him up and stuff like that. He wasn't in hardly any blocking situations. I'm not really a big Ferkser hater. I'm not hating on him too much or anything, but I just feel like we need a solid tight end. This whole tight end carousel thing is just not working. I don't know if you guys think the same way. I just don't like the whole carousel thing. You know what I mean? Nicole Pruitt was doing pretty well until he got hurt, and that sucks what happened to him. And prayers out to him. Hope he heals quickly. But what else do you guys think we need? What are our main needs, maybe on defense or whatever, coming into this offseason? And we'll start with James there.
Well, we have 2 major needs from my assessment of watching a lot of this film. It's right guard, right tackle. Point blank. It was awful.
Yeah.
We can make do with anything, with just about anything else, but right guard, right tackle. It was abysmal. Like I said, I think we could have gone to the nursing home and got better blocking. I've seen skeletons block better than the right side than the right tackles did this year. When it comes to terrible. And when it comes to offensive coordinators, is Darrell Bevel still around?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad pick. This is a type of offense that he can run. He did a really good job when he was up there in Seattle, so I don't see an issue there. But personally, the right offensive line is abysmal. I would probably rate them one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, it was bad every time they ran right, man. It was bad. That playoff game, man. I was like, I was looking at you saying, run left. I don't care at this point. Just run left, man. It was terrible. It was awful. Power Hour, what do you think? I know you had talked about the defensive backfield. Do you think they draft somebody in the 3rd, 4th round or somebody like that? What do you think about the cornerback position? I know Farley's supposedly coming back, but are you banking on Farley? Are we letting go Jenkins? Or what are we doing there?
Well, really, right now, I think you have to let go of Jenkins because it's going to be a big cap hit, and eventually Farley was going to take that slot. So I could potentially see him going out in free agency and signing somebody, or even keeping some of the guys that they have right now on the roster. But one thing I really think the team needs to address, and it hasn't been addressed since 2019, and Teron Davenport brought this up a few weeks ago, and it's kick returner. We need a kick returner. We need to set the field up to where our guys are starting at least at the 40 or the 45. This offense doesn't need to be driving anymore. They need someone that can get them down the field and start at a good position. And one guy that I'm really high on is Bam Knight from NC State.
Yeah.
He's a slot running back, but he's also a kick returner, and he's a phenomenal kick returner at that.
Yeah, that you're right, man. That is something we haven't had in a while. And Tyler, what do you think? I know we've ran through a few position groups. We haven't really talked about wide receiver. We have a little bit, obviously. What do you think at that position? Do you think we're kind of set if Julio stays and you got people coming up? Like, obviously, Rodgers is not going to be with us next season. I don't know about who was the other guy that was with us that got hurt that was doing pretty. Marcus Johnson. What do you think there, man, in that position group?
Yeah, if Julio stays, I mean, really, I think receivers could kind of be looked at almost like corners. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have good depth there.
Yeah.
And so depending on, because I don't think Rodgers will be back either. I'm trying to think, is Marcus Johnson, was his just a 1-year deal, or is he back next year?
I think it's a 1-year deal.
All right. So and then NWI, I think he's
a free agent, I think.
Yeah, he's a free agent, but it's kind of like, I don't know that the word's restricted. Like, the Titans could essentially set the price for him. I can't remember where I seen that at.
Yeah.
I may,
yeah. And they can also transition tag him.
Right.
He's eligible for the transition.
I think if a good talented wide receiver falls to you in the draft, take him, because, like I said, it doesn't hurt to have that depth. So,
and it kind of killed me last year, us passing on so many good options, even when we picked up Dez, and of course, Vrabel came out today or the other day and said something about how Dez was improving a lot and this and that, but I just felt like there was a lot better options even at that pick, and even before that you could have done something, but it is what it is. I want to give a shout out to Holly, $20 donation, so thank you very much. That might be the highest donation we've ever had on the channel, so I think Titan Upload might have gave 20 like for the first time when it was first enabled. But thank you so much, Holly. That's amazing. And we'll put it into the channel here. Anyways, let me get to some of these comments here, guys, because I know a lot of people are bringing up players. Eric says Jonnu Smith. Let's bring in John. It's a shame that they didn't use him like that much in New England. Like, what a talent, man. I don't know if they just used him primarily as a blocker there or what, but
that's all Bill Belichick uses tight ends for, is blocking.
That's true.
If your name's not Gronk, that's it. You're just blocking. That's it.
But why pay somebody that much money? That's what I didn't get. Like, they paid him a ton of money in New England. Like, I can understand, like, getting a guy you could find a serviceable tight end that can block, like, on a practice squad somewhere, like,
yeah.
It was just kind of weird. I don't know. Did he get hurt later in the season too? I'm not sure. I don't know if he kept playing. They used Hunter Henry a lot more in the passing game as well. Here's a guy a lot of people have brought up too. Mike Gesicki is available. I think Gesicki would be fantastic. I would love to have Gesicki, but Gesicki is probably going to cost a lot. You know, somebody's going to pay him because he's a very good tight end. And he's been kind of in a, I think in a system where he's, they throw a lot to the tight end under a really good quarterback. He could potentially be 1,000-yard type of tight end every season. I like watching that guy play, man, but I just don't. I don't know. And Sin City Titan says, "What do you think Gesicki will get paid?" I think he's going to get. I mean, I don't think he's going to get Jonnu type of money, but he's probably going to get paid somewhere.
See, that's why I was talking about, going in the draft and getting a tight end is because it's prohibitive. A good tight end in the NFL that can both pass catch and block is prohibitively expensive. It really is. But going in the draft, especially if you can get them in the third round, because the Titans don't have a second round pick this year. I don't think they have a second round. Is that all right?
They don't have one.
Yeah, they don't have a second round pick. So you'd have to go down to the third round or pick them in the first round. So, I just don't see the Titans being able to go out and afford a top-notch tight end. However, I don't see any team being able to go out and get a top-notch tight end. So some of these tight ends may just be on a one-year deal because they can't afford anything else, because the salary cap, we're still recovering from the year of the salary cap not going down because of COVID. So I think the best bet for the Titans is to try to trade out of that first round. Try to get a partner for the first round, get an additional pick. I think they're going to get 2 compensatory picks, one in the 4th, one in the 6th. I think that's the projection right now. So draft picks are gold for your future, especially for the future of your team. Go get the draft picks. They're cheaper. You don't have to pay them a whole lot. I mean, their salaries are set. And then after that you can do transition tags, franchise tags, and things like that to keep them on the team for a little longer. But the money it's just too prohibitively expensive to get a really good tight end in the free agent market.
Yeah, and I think so. I mean, I think with the other needs that we have, I don't see them going out. And somebody had mentioned OJ Howard. Yeah, I mean, it might be somebody you could get that's not, super expensive at this point in his career. Sauce Monster, what's up, man? You didn't have to do that, brother. Just a little something to help out Rossi. Thanks for the content and Tighten Up. And Sauce, you're practically a member of the Tighten Upload Network as well, man. I mean, you've been here from the beginning with Uploads channel and everything else, so you don't ever have to donate, man. But it is appreciated, and thank you very much. And Janet says, "No, I'm his mama." Ducky said, "Are you Mason's son?" And then Janet said, "No, I'm his mom." So there you go, Ducky. I know that Ducky's been going back and forth with people. Look, man, y'all don't be too hard on Ducky. He's I know Ducky. He's a good dude. He likes to say stuff to get people riled up sometimes, but Ducky's all right, man. I know y'all been going back and forth in the chat, but he's all right. He doesn't know a lot about Kenzie, but we know what Kenzie can do. We know what he's capable of, and I just hope he gets a fair shot next year. That's all I want.
Well,
Titan
Rossi,
Anderson.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I have a question for you. We kind of talked about this a little bit on the phone. I believe it was yesterday. Linebacker.
Yeah.
What are the Titans going to do? What do you think they're going to do at linebacker?
That's a good question. Because they got, and we talked about this obviously, but Brown and Evans. I think that if you're going to keep any of them, you can only keep one. Brown is younger. I would see them trying to keep Brown. Like you had mentioned, another 1-year deal or something like that. I don't know, man. I think they're happy with what Monty Rice has done.
Mhm.
I could almost see them letting them both go. I hope they don't. Evans played better this season, but I think Evans is older, and at this point, I think you kind of keep Brown and you roll with Rice and Long, and Brown comes in there in the passing situations and stuff like that. He's better in coverage. I think that's kind of how it's probably how it's going to pan out. I mean, maybe they keep one of them. You guys might think differently, but I don't know. That's a tough one. That's going to be a tough one in this offseason. Titan Anderson, what's up? He's in the building. Says trade Julio in a first rounder and Tannehill for Rodgers. LOL. I mean, I would be cool with that. Like I do. Look, man, I'm a fan at heart. I'm not going to sit here and just look, I don't believe the rumors. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe anything about them really, but like the fan inside of me, of course I want Aaron Rodgers. Who would not want Aaron Rodgers? If Aaron Rodgers came here, it would be awesome. You know what I mean? He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's still very good. Look at his numbers this year. Yeah, the playoff game was not that great, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers makes your whole team better, but I don't think it's realistically going to happen,
Well, the thing is, Rossi, his playoff numbers are average at best. He's 11-10 all time in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you got that too. So he's 11-10. I'm not like against keeping Tannehill. I think he's a decent quarterback. He's been pretty good with us. He's had a ton of wins. I mean, there's plays where Tannehill makes, like in that Houston game, where you're like, wow, man. And there's a lot of plays that he's made throughout his time that he's been here that I've been like, oh my God, nobody could throw a better ball. I hear you, power hour as far as that goes, but I think it would be interesting. Now, I don't want to trade away our entire future for it. I don't want to trade away look, man, we all went through the years of losing. We all went through all that. We've been winning the past 6 seasons. You know what I mean? The past 6 years. Do we want to mortgage our whole future, or at least, okay, yeah, you get Rodgers and you go, say you do win a Super Bowl. Is it worth it? I think it'd be worth it if you win a Super Bowl, because you win a Super Bowl and not many organizations get to do that. But say you don't win a Super Bowl and then you mortgage 3, 4, 5 years down the road from now and your team is completely garbage and you're bottom feeders again. I would like to stay consistent, and I would like to be a winning franchise for years to come. I just don't see. I think you would just have to give them the whole farm to get Rodgers. You're talking picks in the future, first round picks now, first round picks in the future. You're talking either Tannehill, somebody's got to go to them. I just don't think it's going to happen. There's a part of me, there's a fan inside of me that says I would love to see Rodgers in a Titans uniform, and I think a lot of people share that same sentiment, but I don't want to mortgage our entire future for it.
Well, if we're going to be wishing for something like that, why don't we go down and see if we can get Brett Favre and then wrap him in that copper fit stuff he's been playing, in those commercials.
Yeah.
Look, there would have to be so many things that would have to happen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and it says Russell Wilson. Once again, that's the same thing. You're still the limiting factor is going to be the salary cap hit. That's the limiting factor here.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it, through it, over it, under it. You just it's not going to happen. Tannehill will be our quarterback, barring some blockbuster deal that some team just can't live without Ryan Tannehill. Which I don't see that team out there. He's going to be here next year. Personally, I've watched Ryan Tannehill. I've graded him out. To be honest with you, he's better than what I initially had thought. But once again, you have to put him in better positions as an offensive coordinator to make better plays. When you call bonehead plays with with really bonehead personnel for those plays on the field, you're going to end up with bonehead interceptions. And that's what, and that's what Downing did. And when Ryan Tannehill is put into a situation that isn't bad, and he's put in a situation that's mediocre to good, he performs. He performs well. But when you got bad personnel with play calls, combine that with play calls that are bad with that personal grouping, I'm not so sure Joe Montana could play very well in that situation. And you don't have an right side of the offensive line, so
there was
you get what you get.
There was a game earlier on in the season, and I had heard something from somebody, and I can't say anything or who it was, but I had heard, and I don't know, how much truth there was to it or not, but I know and it might have been earlier on. It might have been against Seattle. I think it was against Seattle where they went to halftime, and Tannehill supposedly stepped up and said, "Hey, man, look, we got this. We got this at this point. Let us do our thing. Let us go out there and win this game," talking to Downing. And I think you make a great point, James. I think it's if you have Arthur Smith this season, I think you're looking at a different flow to the offense. They tried to kind of stick to Arthur Smith's ideology with Downing, but Downing just wasn't cutting it, man. I mean, when you're calling plays on 3rd and 1 from a shotgun in a playoff game like that, when you're 6 inches, it's like, I get calling that play. I get calling it in the end zone. They've done it many times. But in that situation, like you said, situationally tone deaf, that is perfect for Todd Downing. That was a terrible play call. Just absolutely terrible. And we'll see what happens. I hope they bring somebody in at OC, man. I really do. I really hope they make a change. I don't think they're going to, because I feel like they would have done it already. I feel like they would have let him go already. But, they let go the assistants. They hired a new inside linebackers coach, a guy from the Texans, obviously. Vrabels loves his Texan guys, but apparently he's a pretty decent coach. So somebody brought up in the chat too that I don't know why I blanked on this, was that Cunningham. Is that somebody, do you guys think we're going to keep? Do you see us keeping him, Michael?
I think he stays. I think he filled an important role going forward, and I just think he's just become too valuable to the defense to let go. I think especially getting a full season under his belt, we're really going to see him take off on the defense that he's a lot more comfortable being in.
Now, is he on a 1-year deal? Do y'all know that? Or how does his contract work out? I don't even know, man. I haven't even looked it up or anything. If y'all know in the chat, let us know too.
No, he's signed through 2024.
He 2024.
He had a weird thing in his contract. Something, it was like an avoidable injury thing. There's something weird going on in his contract. I can't remember what it was, but it was something weird. Let's get to a few of the comments here. Well, guys, we've been going on for an hour and 20. Can y'all go for about another 5-10 minutes and we'll wrap it up? But thank you guys so much for tuning in the chat. Y'all been awesome. We've had a lot of super chats tonight, and y'all been just killing it with the comments. So I really appreciate it. And go follow these guys. Go follow these guys on their respective platforms. I think I have them here. Let's see. Titans for Life has a YouTube. You can find them on Twitter at Big Sportsman 3. Titans Time Podcast. You can find them Titans Time Podcast on YouTube, at Twitter at Titans-_time. They're also on about every listening platform available as far as all the podcast networks, Spotify. What's the one I listen to?
Stitcher.
Stitcher, yeah. I don't even know what I listen to. So yeah, and also the Power Hour. You can find him on YouTube, TikTok. He's got an awesome TikTok site page. I don't know what you call TikTok page.
Just TikTok, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got an awesome TikTok. He's got a Twitter at the Power Hour 615. I'm not sure if you broadcast on other stuff too, but
simulcast on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and
Yep.
TikTok.
Yeah, I figured you'd. I need to.
Do you
look
do
into
dances
doing
on
that.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Do you do the dances on TikTok too? Because I will tune in for that. I will tune in all day for that.
Come on, you
dance.
you don't want to see this fat. You don't want to see this fat old man dancing on TikTok.
You do the duo thing they have, like with Jackson Mahomes.
I'll do what that dude did on the Chappelle show. I'll just be back like this.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Anyway, so that's where you can find all them. They're all awesome in their own right. So you guys give them a follow as well. I wanted to get to a few comments here. I saw Carrie, which is Tyler's wife. Shout out to you. She says Tannehill is going to be here for another year or two. I don't see him leaving anytime soon. Too much for the dead cap. And yes, that makes sense. Gabriel Depp Knight, what's up, man? He says if Tannehill and Jones went to Green Bay and they won the Super Bowl because we couldn't get rid of Downing, all the fans would be like, WTH. I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think
Jones has to be healthy to play, though.
Oh yeah, that is.
Jones has to be healthy to play. That's the problem.
Holly says I can't see going for Rodgers at this stage of his career and what the Titans would have to sacrifice. I don't think it's smart, and I think a lot of people share that same sentiment. You know, so Joe Seeley says if we get Aaron Rodgers, I'll drop dead. I mean, it would be insane if Aaron Rodgers came to Nashville. It really would. I mean, it would be the biggest move in a while. I mean, J-Rob has made big moves. I mean, and I made a tweet about this. I'm not saying he's going to make this move, but one thing that I like about J-Rob, now he's failed on a few of those moves, but last year he went and got Clowney. You know, we didn't know Clowney was what was going to happen throughout the year beforehand, but I mean, we were all excited for that. This year he went and got Julio. He's not afraid to make big moves. He's not afraid to go out there and try and get somebody. And that's what I like about J-Rob. Now, does he hit on everybody? No, of course not. You know, but I like that about J-Rob, man. I like that he's willing to go out there and make a move and try and get this team over the hump, you know.
Well, this year in the draft, he cannot make these long-term project picks.
Yeah.
He just can't. These guys are going to have to come in and immediately begin to have some production. J-Rob, you know, he's gone out several times and gotten guys who were injury and they're going to have to sit a year or due to injury or they were just coming back from injury. Great prospects, but you know, were more long term. He can't do that this year. This year, he has to hit. I'd say on the first 3 picks, they must be hits.
Yeah, and I said that last year, man. I was like, this is a, you know, we need to. I said this in the draft show and when Upload had, I said, man, we need picks that can help us now. Like We don't need these, and we went and got Farley, and you see what happened. But hopefully Farley can come back, and I mean, his skill is pretty awesome. You know, like his athletic ability is something to behold, and I hope for his own right that he does well and he comes back and all is well that ends well. Janet says, I can tell you what I know for sure. Vrabel and J-Rob love Tannehill and Woodside. Titans fans have to trust when the wide receivers get separation, you will see the release happen much faster. And yeah, that's facts. That is facts coming from a NFL mom. So there you go.
And I want to say that, not trying to, kiss a little behind here or anything like that, but Mason is one of the few receivers that I've seen all year really when he's had his shots in preseason and practice, some practice videos where he's in the background, you see him in the background. He's one of the few that has consistently been able to get some separation, and they were able to get the ball to him. And that's why he has this contract. That's why I think he's going to be on the team next year, and he can do a lot in the punt return. He's got that first step of his is just lightning. So to me, honestly, I think Mason is the key to us not being in the playoffs anymore. I think that had he been there, we would have been able to do some things on those third and intermediate routes where, you've got to have that quick separation and good hands and stuff like. I think that is the reason why, had we been out there, we may still be in the playoffs, because those were some drop balls, those are some interceptions that happen that I don't think happens there because he gets separation.
Let's see here. I saw Over Chicken in the chat. What's up, man? I don't know if I've ever seen you on my channel. If you have, I've never seen you comment. But thanks for tuning in, man. I've seen him on Titan Uploads channel a ton. So thanks for tuning in. Holly says no TikTok dances, please. I'm just messing with you. Holly says Jackson Mahomes is more than enough. Yeah, that old Jackson Mahomes stuff is crazy. Sauce Monster says the thing is it's a win now situation for us. We are in that window, so you're going to have to make sacrifices. Yeah, I mean, we are. I felt like we really whiffed this year, and I feel like that's why everybody's so upset. That's why all the fans are so mad. Even my brother, who is not really a football fan, because he's lived overseas for the last 10 years of his life, so he hasn't watched football, but he watched he was in Tennessee this whole season, and he watched every Titans game and became a massive fan. And he literally just texted me. He moved back to South Korea a couple months ago, and he literally just texted me and said, man, I still can't get over it. That's how much of a fan he became this year. He's always been a Titans fan, but he just could never watch him, But yeah, I mean, people are still hurting,
Well, okay. To those people, I have something to say. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season, we're going to lose Derrick Henry for most of the season. We're going to lose Julio Jones. We're going to lose AJ Brown on and off all season, and we're going to be the number one seed in the AFC. What would you have said? You'd have probably thought that I was on some serious drugs and thought that something was wrong with me, that I maybe fell and bumped my head or something like that. Titans fans, it was a disappointment when we got there. Yes, what happened in the playoffs was a disappointment. But all in all, when you look at the season as a whole, totality of the season, I think this was a successful season. Disappointing on how it ended, but successful as a season as a whole. It proved that we are a team to be reckoned with. At least in my opinion, it is. It's proven that we can lose major components of our offense, still function and still execute and still do things. It also proves that Todd Downing knows how to mess up He knows how to mess up at key moments.
And Tyler, do you think obviously Vrabel won the Pro Football Writers Coach of the Year? You think they're going to snub him at the AP awards, the honors or whatever? You think he'll get it, or you think they'll give it to Taylor or somebody?
No, I mean Vrabel. They better not snub him. I mean he deserves it for exactly what we just talked about. Everything the Titans went through this year, still were able to get the 1 seed. And you look at the teams that they beat, like there's no reason that Vrabel should not get it. I think the total ended up being 91 players.
Yeah,
total.
I think it was 91.
Like so, if you look at that, any other team goes through 91 players in a season. Some of the players being down are their main stars. I don't know of many other coaches that are still getting their team to that 1 seed with all of that going on. Like Vrabel knows how to rally these guys. Next man up. Like he deserves the Coach of the Year this year. Just plain and simple. And one thing I do want to touch on, you talked about earlier, if you go after one of these other quarterbacks and give up all of these picks, the only way it really becomes worth it is if you actually win the Super Bowl after doing that. If you don't win the Super Bowl, if you don't make it any further, then you gave up all of that just to end up in the same position, sitting at home in January and February. Like you have to win it in order for it to be worth it. So,
and I want to get your perspective on this, Mike, because I feel like is that worth it to you? Like, would that be worth it to you to win a Super Bowl? And okay, say hypothetically, let's play a hypothetical. Say the Rams win it this year, but they go 1-15 for the next 3 years. Would it be worth it to you, Power Hour, as far as just to doing it to win a Super Bowl for now? That's it. Boom, we suck for the next 4 or 5 years because we trade our future away.
Well, Tennessee doesn't have to worry about that. They've got John Robinson handling the helm, and they've got Mike Vrabel coaching the guys up.
Yeah.
So the mentality here, it's not get in and win, and then whatever happens, happens. They're in it for the long haul. They're trying to compete with the Green Bays and the Pittsburghs and the New Englands and all the contending teams out there. They're not trying to do it just for a short run and gun.
Yeah.
That's what separates the greats from the elites. And Tennessee's trying to be elite. And they're on the tip of that point of getting to elite. And it's going to take some decisions. And it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication moving forward. And I'll just say something really quick to the fans, and I'm going to take my glasses off so I can just seem serious for a moment so y'all can listen to me. I know you're upset. I know we didn't want the season to end the way it ended, but it did. But I'm going to tell you this. It takes something like this to give you a better perspective on what's more important. Now, going forward, we can just be upset all season and say we could have or we should have. But the end of the game is the greatest that have ever played any sport or have ever been represented in any sport bounce back from those moments. They don't let this define them. This loss does not define the Tennessee Titans for the long term. But it will if you keep that mindset. So going forward, you have to have a positive perspective. You have to realize that we're trying to build for elite. So just remember, it's all right to be upset, but just don't carry that in the next season. Give yourself time to reflect. The goal is February 12th, 2023, Glendale, Arizona. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
One of the things that I wanted to add on what you said, Rossi, John Robinson, and I think Tyler said, mentioned John Robinson earlier and everything. You also have to give a round of applause to Amy. She has done a terrific job of hiring the right people, getting the right attitude in there, fostering the culture. Unlike a Dallas, Texas owner, fostering that. Hey, look, there's a chain of command here. You're not talking to me. You're talking to them because they speak for me. Type of attitude. And then when John goes out and says, "Hey, Amy, I need this, this, and this," Amy comes back and says, "Well, go get it." I think that ownership and her leadership and that ownership has kind of set the tone for what the Titans are today. And I don't want to. I just didn't want to leave her out of the conversation because she has done a terrific job as being managing partner of the Titans organization. Think of all the things that have occurred before she came along and kind of righted the ship. She's put the right people in place, people that she trusts, people that are on the same wavelength as her and on the same page. They're not only on the same page, they're in the same paragraph and sentence together. So shout out to Amy. She's done a heck of a job. Great ownership.
Yeah, for sure. She's been amazing. We're gonna get to just one or two more comments, and we're gonna wrap it up for tonight's show. It's been an awesome show, guys. I really thank y'all for sticking around for over an hour and a half now. Probably one of the longest live streams I've ever done. So actually, I think I did one like an hour and 40 minutes. So, but it's been an awesome show. It's been a great show. I love just talking Titans, man. Whether it's off season, during the season. It makes it fun, man. It makes it still relevant. So it's been awesome. Power Hour, he says, Gabriel says, Power, you got it right. Don't be a downing. Stay positive and know how great the Titans can be. That's a good one. Don't be a downing. Good to use that one. Joe Seeley with the $5 super chat. How do you all feel about Bobby King being hired? I saw you answer that earlier. Ask that earlier, man. I was gonna try and get to that, but how do y'all feel about Bobby King? And I got a little graphic of him. He's the coach, the inside linebackers coach, and let me get this freaking banner off the screen. The Titan, he was hired inside linebackers coach, former he coached for the Texans, first as linebackers coach 2017, inside linebackers coach 2018 through 2020 before working with the defensive line this past season. I don't know anything about the guy. Do y'all?
He's a variable guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
He really is a terrific linebackers coach. He really is. He's a scheme fit for our defense, but my only reservation with King is he tends to have his linebackers play a little more conservatively than the Titans like to play, and that would cause, to me, it would cause a regression in the Titans play because the linebackers were a huge part of what the Titans did this year. So I'm kind of concerned about that part of it, but he really is a terrific linebackers coach. I've watched some of his work for a couple of years now, and how his linebackers seem to always just be there. They just seem to be there.
Well, good. I mean, I hope he does awesome for us. So we're gonna we'll end it out on Sauce Monster's comment here. He says, "Great show, guys. Have a good weekend, Rossi, Janet, Kinsey, Power Hour, Titans for Life, Titans Time Podcast, and everyone else. Man, that's a lot of people." And we got to show Al Pierce. Says, "Great show, guys. Go Titans, kick massive tail." That's Al's. That's his MO. That's his moniker there. So, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a great show. And thank you to all you guys, all my guests. You guys have been incredible as always. We'll do it again soon. So tighten up, guys.
Tighten
Take
up.
care.
Tighten up.
Tighten up. See y'all later.